It started with innocent walks after Bible study, then late night phone calls, and eventually stolen moments of passion in places they shouldn't have been. Grace Matthew was the kind of girl every church wanted. With her angelic voice, she led the choir every Sunday morning. Her hands raised in worship, eyes closed in reverence. She taught Sunday school, volunteered in the community, and was always the first to arrive and the last to leave. Everyone adored her, everyone except herself. To the congregation, she was an example of purity, the perfect church girl. But Grace had a secret, one that weighed heavily on her soul, a secret that made her feel like a fraud every time she walked through those church doors. Grace was only 17 when she first found herself in trouble. She had met Jacob at a youth camp, a charming boy with an infectious smile and a way of making her feel seen. It started with innocent walks after Bible study, then late night phone calls, and eventually stolen moments of passion in places they shouldn't have been. When Grace realized she was pregnant, she panicked. She couldn't tell her parents. They were respected members of the church, and she was their pride. She couldn't bear to see the disappointment in their eyes, so she made a decision, one that she thought would save her from the shame. She found a clinic far away where no one knew her, and with trembling hands and a heavy heart, she terminated the pregnancy. She convinced herself it was a one-time mistake, a secret she could bury deep within her. But life has a way of complicating things. The relationship with John fell apart, but her need to feel loved, desired, wanted never did. She found herself in a circle, searching for love in the wrong places, making the same mistakes over and over again. Each time her guilt grew, and with every decision to end another pregnancy, the weight on her soul became unbearable. Years passed, and Grace continued to play the role of a perfect church girl. But every sermon on purity, every talk about the sanctity of life, felt like a dagger in her heart. She felt like a hypocrite standing on that stage, singing about God's love while hiding the darkest part of herself. She knew people whispered behind her back. She could feel their eyes on her, judging if they didn't know her truth. One day, during a church sermon about forgiveness, something in her broke. The pastor spoke about hidden sins, about the importance of confession, about how the secrets we bury can destroy us from the inside out. As he spoke, Grace felt a tear roll down her cheek. She could no longer contain the emotions that had been filtering inside her for years. That night, Grace sat in her small apartment, staring herself in the mirror. Her eyes were red and swollen from crying. She felt the urge to talk to someone, to tell her story, but she was afraid of judgment, afraid of rejection, afraid that no one would understand. But she knew she couldn't keep living this way. She decided to reach out to Pastor Williams, the one person she thought might understand. She asked to meet him privately and, with trembling hands, wrote down every secret sin she had kept hidden, every sin she had buried deep within her heart. When she sat down with the pastor, her voice was barely a whisper. "I have done terrible things," she began, her hands shaking. "Things that I am not sure God could ever forgive me." Pastor Williams listened quietly as Grace poured out her heart. She told him about the abortion, about the men, about how she had felt trapped in a circle of guilt and shame. Her tears flowed freely, and with every word, she felt a small weight lift from her shoulders. But her heart still felt heavy with dread, waiting for the judgment to come. When she finished, there was a long silence. The pastor finally spoke, his voice gentle but firm. "Grace, God's grace is infinite, but you have to forgive yourself first. He knows your heart, He knows your pain, but you can't carry this alone. You need to find a way to heal." Grace didn't know what healing looked like, but she knew she needed to try. She started attending a support group for women who had been through similar experiences, women who had felt the same pain, guilt, and shame. She found herself surrounded by others who understood her struggle, who didn't judge her but listened with open hearts. Slowly, she began to open up. She started to see that her value wasn't defined by her mistakes, that she was still loved, still worthy of grace. But it was a difficult journey. The memories of what she had done still haunted her dreams, and the shame still crept up on her in quiet moments. One Sunday, Grace did something she never thought she would have the courage to do. She stood before the congregation, her hands trembling, her heart pounding in her chest. She could see the curious looks, the whispers, but she had to do this. "I've stood before you for years as someone I am not," she began, her voice shaking. "I have hidden my sins, my mistakes out of fear of what you would think of me. But I can't hide it anymore." She told her story, the whole truth. The congregation was silent, stunned by her honesty. She saw tears in some eyes, shocked in others, but she continued. I am not here to ask for your pity or your judgment. I am here to tell you that I have sinned. Yes, but I have also been forgiven. I have found peace in God's grace. I am learning to forgive myself. I hope you can see me for who I am truly, not just for my past. When she finished, there was a moment of profound silence. Then Pastor William stepped forward and put his arm around her shoulder. "Grace," he said softly, "we all have fallen short, but you've shown us today what true courage looks like. Thank you for reminding us of the power of grace, of God's unending love." From that day, something shifted within the church. Grace's confession has been a revelation, not just for her, but for everyone. People began opening up about their own struggles, their own hidden sins. The church became a place of healing, of honesty, of grace. And for Grace, life was still a challenge. But she no longer walked alone. She continued to attend her support group, continued to seek therapy, and slowly she began to forgive herself. She found new purpose in helping others who had walked similar paths, using her pain to heal, her story to inspire. She knew she would always carry the weight of her past, but she also knew she didn't have to be defined by it. She could be more than her mistakes. She could be a testament to the power of grace, the power of redemption, the power of love. Please subscribe to my channel for more amazing videos. Thank you for watching.